We're live, and here goes the music.
This is Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood.
All right, I cannot do Steven 4 weeks in a row. We have a bunch of John. I'm sorry. We have a bunch of people who give us intros, but Steven actually was on the show last week, so we gotta get a different voice in here. So let me grab this one. Here we go. This better be better, Joe, or we're fired.
This is Wise and Nerdy, a show where nerding out is cool and solving the problems of the world is a way of life.
Oh, yeah, it is time for Wise and Nerdy. I am Rock Out of Podcasting, Charles McFall. Over here is the ever-present Joseph_Ard.
Hola.
He's not Spanish, but he tries to pretend. And we have for us, it's a very special guest. We got to drop the special, makes them feel uncomfortable. It's a safe space, John. Safe space for dad. It's a safe space for fathers, for dads, and even dad bods, because we got the Dadbod Veteran himself on tonight, John.
Well, hello, everyone.
Show's over. We're good. We got the voice. That's all I needed, man. And I will tell you, because we're going to get to it later in the show, but I've watched you for a little while. I've loved your work.
That's awesome.
And so when your person reached out, we looked it up, whatever. I was like excited. Joe, I said, hey, Joe, are you familiar with Dadbod Veteran? I sent him the link. He's like, oh, yeah. His wife. I showed my kids, my wife. Like, who? I'm like, come on. I know you watch the stuff on TikTok I sent you. You're killing me. So there you go, John. You got recognized and not recognized. So you should feel okay.
I love it. I appreciate it. And I'm glad to be here. I really appreciate you guys give me some time. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast. So, Joe, what is the question of the week this week?
The question of the week is, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be? There's a lot of places in the world.
I've actually been a lot of places in the world. That's what's crazy. If I could travel anywhere in the world, okay, there's this little tiny island off the northern coast of Greece. It's called Corfu. There was actually a TV show that they made about it. It is the most beautiful, tranquil, serene place, not commercialized at all. Crushed shell beaches, clear waters, just an absolute perfect weather, not hot, not cold, just absolutely perfect and beautiful. And the food is stunning. If I had the chance to go anywhere in the world that I know of, it would be that. Go back there. I could spend a week. I could spend a month. I could spend a lifetime in that place because it's very old world. It's very like that old world Italian, old world Greek. It's not really been brought into the 20th century with all of our commercialism and all that kind of stuff. So it still retains that, just old world feel to it. And everybody's relaxed and they're lazy and they're not doing much. And it would be such an escape to be able to just go hang out there for a good period of time. Now, of course, there's all the cool places. There's the Australia, the New York City. There's all those kind of places. But that, in my mind, where I'm at in life right now, that would be the spot.
Nice.
Just relax.
There you go.
I like it.
Just hang out. Yeah.
Joe's going to say Hobbiton, but that's not a real place, Joe.
I mean, I could go to New Zealand and visit.
No, it's true.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that would be a lot of fun. But my first thought was Scotland. On both sides of my family, I've got Scottish ancestry. And there's even a Loch Ard, a Lake Ard in Scotland.
Oh.
And so I would love to visit Scotland.
I was in Scotland last year in Edinburgh and went to Loch Ness. And I will tell you, you're right on the spot. Of all the places in the UK and Ireland that I would go back to, it'd be Edinburgh.
There you
100%,
go.
100%.
Yeah, see,
Nice.
I think that would be awesome, and just to reconnect with my ancestral home, I think that would be great.
Got to hit the castles while you're there.
Yeah. See how much they cost and daydream about buying them.
A lot of people live in them.
Yeah, but good luck getting the Wi-Fi to work correctly on all the levels. So,
Yeah, it might be a problem.
Yeah, I'm very, very. I'd like to go all over the world. Like basically, my answer would be generic and go anywhere that I can go. I would go, but ultimately, if I have to pick one spot, I really want to go to Tokyo. And I think I've missed my shot as far as I saw a documentary, oh man, probably over 10 years ago now, called Hero Dreams of Sushi. And it's the only 3-star Michelin sushi chef, I believe, in the world at the time. And at least, I don't know what it is now, but he was huge. but he had this tiny little restaurant in a subway station in Tokyo that sits 10 people max. And it was a year waiting list, and he's just a master at making sushi. And I was like, I want to go sit there and eat. And I think it's probably too late now because he was elderly when the documentary came out. But I still would like to go to Tokyo. I love the Japanese culture, and it'd be a blast. No,
Sounds like it. Yeah, definitely.
Wrong words.
Yeah.
So, but then what about make believe, Joe? Where would you go in the fictional places?
I mean, Hobbiton.
Yeah.
They know how to throw parties there, and
Yeah.
they've got good eats. And other than when there was the sacking of the Shire, other than that, it's generally been pretty peaceful. So
Yeah. I wanna follow Demon Slayer. I want to go to Mugen. We actually never got there on the Mugen train arc. So I want to know what Mugen looks like because we never saw it. But John,
man.
if there was a make-believe place besides Canarnia, which is Canada, we know that's all make-believe, but
The Iron Isles.
all right, we know where he lands in Game of Thrones.
There's just something about the way that thing's structured that just looks BA.
Yeah.
I mean, completely. I mean,
Yeah.
King's Landing's nice, and the Wall is nice, but the Iron Isles just looks just BA.
Yeah.
BA.
Yeah, it was really good. All right, Joe, as we get ready to roll the dice, you know what we got to do. So, John,
I
we
guess
get
so.
warmed up, but then we got to call all of our fans in, and our fans are big old daddy-os. So, you ready, Joe?
I
You
guess.
ready? Come on, you're gonna don't be embarrassed. We can do it. We got to do it this weekend anyway.
All right.
Daddy-os! All right, roll the dice.
Get warmed up.
Yeah. And honestly, I got to sit with Dante, who played Rufio in Hook, and just that Rufio calls like, I'm sorry, Dante, I want to borrow that from my show. I'm gonna call it Daddy-O's instead of Rufio's. So
All right. Well, what we rolled is
What are you nerding out about?
wow.
What are you nerding out about?
We're
Oh,
already
God.
jumping in there.
I had two answers for this question before I came in, or I had one answer for this question before I came into the show, but now I have a new answer to this question, and this is going to sound old as hell. Okay, I'm going to sound really old. I just left a doctor's appointment where I'm going to get my hip fixed finally.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Wait. So, I've been dealing with hip pain for like 5 years, on and off, and doctors say they couldn't fix it, but this doctor said he could fix it, and he's going to do the surgery in December when we have a break from our comedy tour. And I'm really excited about getting it fixed so that I could sleep without a pillow between my legs.
Yeah.
I know that sounds
Oh.
horrible. That sounds
No.
cheesy as hell.
no.
But
That's Yeah.
that's what's exciting to a 46-year-old.
Nerding out about quality of life increases is
Exactly.
is awesome.
Look, it's
Well,
not just
everybody
a
was like, yeah, this guy
46-year-old.
really is the dad bod. He really is old. The whole audience is like, wow, he went there.
Look, when I was in my early 20s, somebody had given me a waterbed, and when that little heat thing went out on it, and that waterbed
yeah.
got cold,
Cold?
even then at 20, I was like, I get it. I'd like to fix my back and hip pain too. Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I mean,
Yeah.
what happened to waterbeds? Speaking of which,
They
Where
got
did they go?
punctured one too many times and caused so much damage that people gave up on them.
is that what it was, or did they just
I don't
realize
know.
that that's a horrible idea? Because I've had waterbeds when I was a kid. I had the full motion, and then the semi motion, and then the no motion, which really was the same thing as like a sleep number. But I don't know. They just like all of a sudden disappeared one day, and waterbeds were gone.
Yeah. My parents
I-
had a waterbed.
Until you broke it.
I didn't break the waterbed. I
Oh, the
broke
mirror.
the mirror on their headboard.
Yeah, his daddy had a mirror on the headboard. Yeah.
And those were some big, sturdy. They were pieces of furniture. They were
Yeah.
big pieces of furniture. You
Yeah.
didn't move those without a plan.
Claire Neal says, Aloha, snack bar.
That's my brother-in-law.
Okay, that's funny. All right, so waterbeds, right? I saw a TikTok where they only had about a decade of high rise and then faded out. Now, what I think is all the single guys who bought them, they finally got women, and women was like, no, this is horrible. I do not want to sleep on this bed. Or
We're
you
not
kept
doing
it for a while and you tried to move Nobody moves a waterbed. That's how I got one for free. They were like, if you come and get it, you can have it. We are not moving this thing again.
And I remember you had to have like extra insurance if you were in an apartment and you had one.
Oh yeah, because of flood.
In case of the floods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were good old times. They were the best times.
Joe, what are you nerding out about?
I am nerding out about Rogue One. So I just finished Andor 2. And so that leads directly into Rogue One. And so my wife and I were like, well, we haven't watched Rogue One since it came out. We should rewatch it. And man, it's good. It's very good. In fact, I think I would say it was better than I remembered. And that might be biased because now I have backstory on Cassian and everything. I did have some small issues where how they portrayed Cassian in Rogue One versus Andor, there are some discrepancies there, but they're relatively minor. But yeah, no, Rogue One, fantastic storytelling, fantastic everything. So that's the one thing that I'm nerding out about. But the other thing is actually teaching tech to my kids. So earlier today, I took our episode from last week and I was clipping it up to go on our WNN Clips channel. And I asked my son, I was like, hey, I know you've shown interest in video editing. Did you want to come down and take a look, see how I edit for the normal clips versus editing for shorts and things like that? And he's like, I don't really care about the regular clips, but I would love to see how you do the shorts. And so he came down and I showed him how I took our horizontal normal format and edited it into a short format. And I had noted last week in our show notes a couple of segments that I thought would be good for shorts. And so I showed him how I break it up into the different people that are on the show, so that I can have each of them perspective, but I hide those and I just show the overall, and then I select every single track. So I clone them multiple times, but then I select every track and I just hit play and I say, okay, there's going to be a transition here, and I just clip at every single section. And then when I get to the end, I just delete the parts that aren't needed and re-show it and everything. And he was like, oh, that's a lot easier than I thought it would be to do that. And so, yeah, so it was fun to see how excited he was to learn and to share that with him and just have a little bit of a moment this morning.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. It's just, that's good stuff. My son is 20, my oldest is 20, and apparently there's a TikTok trend. It's get your parents to watch Attack on Titan, and I'd always look at anime as like, that just looks weird. So I've agreed to watch it I told him for the TikTok clout, and we shoot it here on the couch and whatnot with the anime stuff behind us, whatever. But he does all his editing on the phone, and he's actually doing a pretty good job refining it and getting stuff in. So I'm giving him the content and the humor, and he's doing the editing and he interacts with the chat and whatnot, and it's pretty cool. But that's good on you, Joe. You know, teaching them something fun. Hopefully they'll get interested in that.
Yeah,
big future in front of him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He's got a bunch of different warring dreams at the moment, but one of them is to have his own YouTube channel, of course, just like we were talking pre-show, most kids these days. But his current big boy goal, because I've expressed to my kids, you can make a living off of YouTube, but make sure you have a solid backup plan or even a primary plan while you build your audience. Mm-hmm. And so his other plan, should YouTube not skyrocket, is he actually wants to become an animator. And so he wants to go to Brigham Young University in Provo, where they have one of the top animation programs in the United States. And yeah, so
okay.
Well, his YouTube channel can be about that journey.
Yeah. Well, and I've told him, I was like, you can do that with your YouTube channel. You can do your animations on there.
Yeah.
So
chronicleize your journey of going through school and all that stuff. That's huge content now.
There was a kid, I think he might have been at Brigham Young. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember. It was a smaller college out Midwest, but it is sophomore year, got a huge following on his TikTok channel by just eating the cafeteria food and rating it. And that's what he did
like
every
a Keith
single
Lee of
day.
cafeteria food.
Yeah. And it was hilarious. And he didn't do anything other than he ate it. He's like, nope, well, this is a 2, you know. And my wife loved it. I mean, it's just so fun. Being authentic is really what gets you going today, I think.
Yeah.
Right. I got so many questions for John. So I'm gonna get my nerding out about it, then we'll get to Borderlands. Now I put ×2 up there. So Borderlands 4.
God.
Huge. Are you a Borderlands guy, John?
No, the Mrs. Dadbod, she's a huge Borderlands fan. Huge.
Wait.
tried to get me to
till
play.
I
I
tell
just
you
can't
what
do
I'm.
it.
No, that's fine. But I've got you. She got a birthday. She's got Christmas coming up. She's got something. I got you the gift for maybe, but not this part. Borderlands 4 is coming out, which I'm sure she's already on the pre-order if she loves it or whatever. It's pre-ordered now. Super excited. Looks great. I'm gonna. It comes out right before my birthday, so I've already got that planned. But for Father's Day, do you guys play board games like geek board games? Monopoly is cool and all, and I love Monopoly, so I reference it. But today's board games. Y'all play any stuff like that?
I don't, but my brother does, and he has a whole
Yeah.
he has a whole session at his bar. So he owns a bar locally, and they do board game nights at his bar because he's
Oh,
super.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's his collection. That's just collection.
It's focusing in on the wrong thing. I've got a few board games up there.
You got a couple.
Yeah.
Got a couple few.
Yeah. We have not been a huge board game family. We've tried a few here and there, and actually this spring Joe introduced me to Dominion, and we've got that. It's awesome. But I forgot it's even on my Amazon list. I simply put it on there because it's Borderlands, but it's a Borderlands board game. It's Mr. Torg's Badass Arena, and the box is huge. And I've got a video clip on my TikTok of my son and I figured it took us 5 hours to figure out how to set it up. Yeah, it's kind of Gloomhaven type of deal. But it's
Wow.
we had, of course, you're reading instructions. The instruction manual is 32 pages long. It's very D&D kind of game. If you've ever, it's the best way to explain it is they really took the best parts of the video game and somehow put it into this board game with figures and tokens and cards, and
Wow.
you get to level as you play through the arena, and it's a whole storyline. So we played through the first level twice now. The first time to figure it out, second time okay, now we understand it. Let's really play better this time. And then you get to the end of it, and you get to choose a path. And the path will dictate what the next arena looks like. And you will make your way through a multiple campaign session to the boss. And it's all Borderlands. And it is.
Wow.
And so Jeff, last night, well, I grabbed Riley and said, hey, you want to play? So we got, cool, we're going to be much faster now. It says on the box, 1 hour. That's a lie. That is a lie.
I will preface, the times that they put on the box are for people who already know how to play. That's after you already know what's going on. You don't have to reference the rules all the time.
Well, we were much better the second time. Last night was the second time. We got the thing set up pretty quickly. We knew how to get the cards laid out, all the stuff. We were ready to go. Maybe 20 minutes to set up, maybe. And now still going.
Yeah, setup time is not included in the playtime either.
Right. So we get to playing, and we only had to check the rules once or twice. We got to playing, because the rules are fairly simple. I mean, you can get it pretty quickly. So we didn't check the rules a lot. 3 hours from setup to finish is what we did last night. But the time flew past. I get it when other people are talking about Gloomhaven or some of these other ones. Or I'm sorry, John, back in our day, Risk, Fortress America. Right?
I still play Risk, okay?
Right? But that's a 3-day campaign.
That's you guys got to be there for a hot minute.
Yeah.
So I've got a Harry Potter deck building game behind me, and my brother-in-law, who's in the chat here, when the first time I played it, he played it with me, and it was at a New Year's Eve party. And we were like, okay, it starts off where you can go through each year of Harry Potter, so each book, and fight the different bad guys from the different books. And we decided we were going to play through all 7 years. And we were playing it for like 6 or 7 hours. But yeah, it was a ton of fun, but it definitely took a long time.
Wow.
I wouldn't recommend playing through every single year in the future. And the first year is definitely the one that goes the quickest. So,
but you can't stop and come back to it or set up like with Borderlands. We actually had to write down where we were because the tokens are on the card for your level up stuff. But we just documented where we were, packed everything away, and Put it away until next time.
At the end, if you continue playing at the end of each year, it gets reset anyway. So it's not meant for you to play every single year. So when you finish a year, you're good. That's what you're expected to do. Is just do 1 year.
Now, John, you said you had a second nerding out, or one you had before, but I'd like to hear what it was.
What did I have see, now you're gonna make my old brain think, because I was already moving on to the rest of the questions. I don't remember what it was now.
Fair enough.
Dang it. I'm sure it had something to do with our tour. It has something to do with our tour, and I can't remember now. It'll come back to me. I'll take a whammy on that one.
Okay. And now I feel like I'd like to schedule Mrs. Dadbod on just to talk Borderlands in the future.
You should, because she'll talk to you about it. She'll talk your ear off about that. And I've tried to play it with her, and it's just like, I couldn't get into it. It's not Call of Duty enough for me.
Okay, good. Fair enough. I played Call of Duty for a while during COVID, like everybody did with my kids and whatnot. But once I didn't have time to spend hours a day playing it, couldn't keep up. But yeah, Borderlands, I can jump in and out. Yeah, I get you. All right, Joe, get ready to roll some dice there. And as Joe rolls the dice, John, do you have kids?
I have 5 kids.
What's one thing you'd love from them to take from your life and do? Like Joe did hey, my kid was interested in learning editing.
You know what? I just want them to I don't want them to do anything in particular. I want them to not have fear of doing anything. Rather than that.
Nice.
Like I am fearless, but I'm fearless through failure. I want them to be fearless without the failure to go with it, right? Because I'm old, and I'm kind of at that point in my life where I'm like, damn the torpedoes, it doesn't really matter anyway. I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want. I want them to do that now, to not look at something and say I can't do it. I'd rather just say I want them to just be able to be so bold as to look at something and say, yeah, I can figure that out, whatever it is. And if I want to do it, I can pursue it until it fails, and then I'll learn something from it, and I'll take that forward.
That's good. That's
what I want them to do. Yeah, it's harder. That's much harder. It's much harder. Is to have the gumption to be able to look at something and say, I can figure out how that works, or I can see myself doing it, and I can go towards it, and I can be fearless because that's what my dad did. That's what I'd love to say.
Yeah. Well, because the fear of failure is such a huge detriment to a lot of people, but especially younger kids.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I see it all the time. I mean, we grew up in a generation where we didn't have a choice but to fail, because that's the only way we learned something, because nobody was there to teach us. So we just tried it. We burned a couple houses down, and we broke our bikes, and we took apart everything that we had in our toy box to figure out how it worked, because that's what we did. We had no other way to do it. But the kids these days, they have such an opportunity, and there's so much information out there to go and get and learn about all this stuff. Like everything I've learned about social media, I learned through YouTube. I'm not gonna lie. Everything I learned about editing, everything I learned about
it's a great university.
Yes, it's the best thing ever. And all you gotta do is type in the word. Teach me OBS. Poof. There's like 700 videos that are anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 years long to teach you all the ins and outs of OBS. It's there. You just have to have the wherewithal to know that this is the encyclopedia I can go to get the information. And I think that kids today are afraid to even do that part of go into YouTube and search and watch the videos to learn it, because they're so used to YouTube being an entertainment source, not an educational source. And I want to switch that paradigm for my kids.
Yeah. I started switching that with my kids. Like, you want to learn something? I treated them like, no, I was more or less kind of like a latchkey kid, right? So, like you said, if I wanted to figure out how to jump my bike off a ramp, I had to go get an old cupboard door and put it on a cinder block.
Exactly.
And, but my kids don't have to do that. But I did start saying, hey, you want to learn something? Go to YouTube. Somehow one of my kids got interested in coding, and I'd like to code games. Go to YouTube. Start learning it. Here's a free program to play with, and
all of those things.
All right, Joe, what'd we roll?
How do I?
We are jumping all over tonight.
Wow.
So how do I is now, we changed it up a little bit, because as we always do, we warm up before show, and we're getting to know each other and figure things out. And Joe and I were gushing a little bit about how we've followed Dadbod Veteran for a while on TikTok, and you're very gracious. I will give you that. You're very gracious. I love the humility. That's the hardest thing about what people do in this world. When you have arguably, when you have the numbers that you can put up on the board for all your social media, sometimes people get really cocky. We saw that happen to a TikTok famous comedian who changed his gears halfway through when he got a big special. And yeah, it's easy to get cocky, but you get the humility, which is great. But you do provide a joy to people and an entertainment, a break from reality, a touchstone. See, you're giving advice that I grew up with and I gave to my kids, but you're giving it in a very positive and entertaining way. And so the question is, because I'll let you say it, John, not the question, but when we were like talking, saying, man, you're awesome. Basically, what was your reaction?
Yeah, well, I don't see myself like that. I don't see myself as the guy who is somebody. I just see myself as this, regular Joe who's been working his whole life, and I'm an idiot with a phone and too much time on my hands. And all of a sudden I became something out of it, which is, like we talked about, the dumbest thing in the world. But
yeah,
now,
we could have made dumb a drinking game and the show would have been over before it got started. It was so awesome.
yeah, but now I'm here getting recognized by people, not just in public, but on the World Wide Web here. I know that really sounded old. Oh my God.
On those interwebs.
Yeah,
on the wwws
on the interhighway. And you guys are looking at me like I'm somebody, and I just don't see myself like that. And as much as I appreciate it, it's hard to. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever done is being I hate the word influencer, being a creator of recognition.
There you go. It's a great title.
Is to adjust to that in public. Like, it took me a good couple 6 months of, Mrs. DBV was always there coaching me. She'll see the interaction about to happen, or she'll see somebody from across the room that's given the eye, and she knows it. She recognizes it. She actually carries, stickers and coins and stuff in her purse for that reason.
Nice.
But she'll coach me on the interaction beforehand, and she'll coach me about it afterwards, because I also have to recognize that what I've created, like you said, it brings joy to people. People are happy about it, and they identify with it, and they see it every day. And some of them look forward to it, right? And I've got messages about how this has kept me out of a dark place, and how this has really helped my marriage, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's worked with my kids, or I now show your stuff to kids at school, from teachers and stuff like that. And there is a huge value to that I can't understand yet. But I have to put myself in the position of those people when they meet me out in town, and what it would mean to get the right response from me. So it's almost like I have to take myself out of my own shoes and put myself in the shoes of a celebrity and act like one, a good one. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Gotcha.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do because a lot of times I'll miss. A lot of times I'll not do it right. In my mind, I'm more critical about myself in those interactions than probably anybody. I might not ask their name because I'm, really stressed out about the situation, because the right thing to do is ask their name and say, tell me about yourself, whatever. So that's probably been the hardest part of this whole game of being a notarized creator, is getting adapted to that circumstance. And of course, now that I'm on a comedy tour, it's getting even worse, which is a good thing. But it's just a side effect of
it's having lived so bad, John. Dang it! People are paying to see me. Oh, I
know.
Bad.
It's. Yeah. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. But I've spent so much of my life, 43 years before I even started on this journey of my life, being a regular person in the world. And now you're telling me after 3 years of effort, I'm all of a sudden something different, and my mind can't go. It can't click. It doesn't click, and it may take me 3 more years to get there.
Well, okay. So the question is, how do I become that guy? Because Joe, you had said to him, like, you have the same issue, and that I don't, which is not 100% true, but we'll talk about that. But Joe, you're starting to get some recognition out in the world now.
Not a whole lot, but every now and again, like when we're at different cons and people see us, and we've had return people come to our shows at the cons, and it just feels awkward, and I try to just be authentic, but I also try to be my best authentic self, and so I don't know, I am not naturally outgoing as a lot of people. I am very reserved, and that comes across in my reactions to different things as well. And so it's I guess I have a quiet charisma is kind of what I would consider it. And so it feels it feels weird sometimes, and I don't always know how to best react to people. It's like, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it. That is it.
Yeah, that's all we should do, right? Is we should just say thank you, but it's hard to do in that moment because we're like, why are you talking to me? Like I'm nobody special. But I am.
You are. Everybody. I think everybody is somebody, right? And when you said, oh, you spent all this time in life and you were nobody, but the world didn't know you. I guarantee you, through your military career, you were probably making people laugh. You were entertaining
I've always
your
been the
friends,
joker.
whatever. Right. And in your corporate gig, you probably make people laugh. But it's also, I'll give you, you could. We always let our guests talk about their personal life. We're not going to brag it in, but you did reveal to us some of what you did, and I get it. In the life that you live for your job, you're in a different mentality. So somebody comes up and is like, you're Dadbod Veteran. You're having to shift. It's almost like a separate part of the brain.
Yeah,
you're shifting a gear.
It's the Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never had that because my dad was a Southern Baptist preacher and we practically lived at the church. So as a young kid, I was always being drugged in front of people. Everybody knew who I was, even though I didn't know who they were. And so at an early age, I was like, I'm going to get in trouble anyway. I'll just be who I am and just be, and because so many people in my life have always come up, especially in the church world where my dad was. My parents, even after I moved out, right? I grew up, got married, moved out, and I come back and they know things about me. I don't know who they are. I have no idea who they are because my parents relayed the message. So to a point, I'm just used to recognition to a point, but never as that kind of celebrity. And I'm starting to get some of that now, and it's worked. But I tell you, Joe, that was it, right? That thank you. That first time somebody recognized me for the work I did. I was at an EMS conference, and by the numbers, people weren't really watching my show that I could tell. But when I went to this conference, 2 or 3 people I'd never met in my life, like, oh man, I watched your show. I like what you did over here. I'm like, and it flipped from people know me because of everything else my parents do to people know me because of what I did. And it felt great. And that's all you ever do is say thank you. So you said, John, maybe in the next 3 years, but I think as you shift what you do all the time, because like we said, you have a job that you love and you're doing, and you're also doing this and doing well. You've done some really cool places of stand up, and a tour we're going to talk about here a little bit later. But as you shift from I do this job to this and this other thing to I only do this other thing, I think and hope that you'll keep your humility, but that you'll be more in the mindset of I'm always expecting the possibility that somebody will come up and say something to me.
Yeah. And what I never want to be is I never want to be somebody who's arrogant about the situation, right? I want to be somebody who's always humble, who is always gracious, and is always approachable. So that's my goal, is to find that balance between letting it go to your head and you think that you're better than anybody and being the turtle in the shell. There's a happy medium between the two, and that's where I want to strike for. Always being appreciative, always being a little bit over humble about the situation, but yet still being respectful to the people that are engaging with me and how they view me as well. Because I'm important to them. Whether I want to believe it or not, I have, through my decisions to do this craft, have made myself important to a lot of people. And that's good. And I want to keep that. And I want to respect them, and I want to honor them for, recognizing me at that point.
Yeah. Being humble, but not putting yourself down type of thing.
Right.
Because there's some people that take it to an extreme, and I hadn't really thought about that, where if you take your humility to an extreme, it discredits those that enjoy your content.
Right. And those that are meeting you because they expect a certain thing from you, right? And you have to, and it's always going to be different what people expect, but if you create kind of a general basis of what everybody should expect out of their interaction with you, that will help you frame how you should be reacting to those people because of the reasons that they love you.
And I admire how you built your brand, because you could easily have just been the character, Dadbod Veteran, right?
Yeah.
But you actually, on your media, you mix it up to where here's some stuff I'm doing. Here's me playing my video games. You're showing different aspects, which I think is probably the healthiest way to do it. Because the worst thing that I've seen happen to celebrities is, well, people think they are that person on the screen or however they watch, and it's somebody they put on. So now they're being a regular human being, and it doesn't mesh. You are bringing that regular human being in and turning up parts of it to 11.
I've really turned it on in the past 6 months of creating deliberate my 9 to 5 voice versus what they see on the porch. And Mrs. Dadbod has framed it perfectly. That voice is for the porch. That's where he stays. He doesn't get to go anywhere else. So when people are in the comments and they're like, why don't you sound like you? She'll come in the comments and she'll troll them back and she'll say, hey, that's for the porch. That's where he stays. And so we've deliberately separated anything that doesn't have to do with the porch, doesn't get that personality, because it's not just voice. There's a personality to go with him. So we've done that on purpose because we do want to expand what the DBV Nation is. We do want to expand what the Dadbod Veteran is. It's not just going to be shorts in the future. We're investigating some possibilities of long form content. Obviously, I'm doing stand-up comedy, and I can be honest with you right now, I'm not doing a full set of stand-up comedy as him. There may be parts of it, but I'm not doing a full set as him. It's actually difficult to do, to be in character for that long.
I can bet.
Yeah, so we want to transition this because I think there's more value to me and what I can offer to people in the content world, short and long form. So we need to branch out past just it. And believe it or not, there are a whole lot more voices in this head than you guys have ever seen. It just happens to be that's the one that everybody loves. Yeah. Everybody's latched on to him.
Yeah. Well, I hope being a 30-year paramedic veteran here that that none of the voices are the PTSD gloom voices.
No. I mean, there's the New Yorker, there's the Southeast Asian accent, there's the Middle Eastern accent. I mean, there's the Italian, the Irish, the Scottish, the English, obviously the English.
The racist accents. Gotcha.
I've got all of them. I've got all geographic accents built into this voice. And this is what I've always done my whole life. It just happened to be that you guys latched onto that. The world latched onto that particular one, and that's okay.
That's how I was introduced to you, honestly. That's the only one I knew at first. So
now I want to hear you read some audiobooks.
You know what? I actually was working on an audiobook. It was actually really hard to read the audiobook because I don't read. I've read like 5 books in my entire life, cover to cover, because I have book narcolepsy. I swear, I love Anthony Bourdain. I have read a book and a half of his. I read his first book. It took me 2 years to read. I've been reading his second book for probably 2.5 years now. It's sitting on my nightstand. I read a page, I'm out. I don't. Maybe it's a true condition. I don't know, but it puts me right to sleep. But I love his stuff. So me doing audiobooks is probably difficult. I can read a script. It's easy. But audiobook, that's hard.
I got to go see Henry Rollins on his speaking tour. I don't know, many years ago. He came to Atlanta, and as an amalgamation of this story, I've always appreciated bands who, if you hung out, they'd come out and talk to you after the show as they're on the come up. Of course, at a certain point, you hopefully you reach a level where you're playing arenas, and that's harder to do, and so on and so forth. And and then it becomes dangerous, so there's security. So I've always loved that just little bit of connection. So I got to go see Henry Rollins, and he came out on stage, and I mapped a lot out of this experience with him. That he came out, he wrapped the microphone like he did with Black Flag, and just went to town. Except he was just telling a story. He told a story for 2.5 hours nonstop, and it made sense. Yeah, it was impressive. And he loops it all around and just masterfully brings it right back to the end and connects it together. And I was blown away by it. I was like, man, I really want to meet this dude. I was doing a show called Bear Crawling at the time. It's like, man, if you will, I want to get him to do the intro to my show for me. And we were out back waiting with a few other people, and we're like, are the cops going to run us off? What's going to happen? And he comes out, and he's like 5 foot even. I mean, he's the littlest dude ever had, but he still could break me in half. I'm 6'7". I know, but he can still break me in half. And he comes out, and Henry Rollins has always kind of got this grumpy face on it, but he was happy, but as grumpy happy. And he took pictures with everybody. And I asked him, like, can I pick you up? He's like, no, but I'll strangle you. And he did. I got a picture of him strangling me. And then he happily read the intro to my show because I asked. And he did it. And like, that's how I want to be. Because he's got to be exhausted. I mean, that's a lot of energy to tell a story like that and everything else.
I can't imagine.
And he just gave back to the fans that waited, and that's what I'd like to do as much. To Eminem, right? There's famous stories of Eminem coming out and security's trying to push people through, and he's like, no. Without these people, I wouldn't be fully be who I want to be. We're always going to be who we are, but we can't get paid to do it if people aren't buying it.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And we're the same way at our show. We try the best to do all of our interactions that we can with the people in the crowd, either during the show or after the show. I personally, I do my set first, so that I can then go sit in the crowd, and I go sit in the crowd and watch the other creators do their sets. So I'm always sitting next to people when I do it, and they're all like freaking out. But then after, for 5 minutes, they relax, and they're like, he's just a dude watching a show.
Yeah.
Because that's what we are. I mean, that's what Henry Rollins is. That's what I am.
Yeah.
That's what we all are. We put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. Some people have nicer pants than others do, but we're still putting them on the same way. And so I think that's the beauty. That's probably the best thing about celebrityisms or celebritydom as a creator, is that we have a different relationship with our fan base than a true celebrity. We are,
because we're connected to them more closely.
We're connected, right? We're connected on the daily. We're connected on the hourly for some. And there's just a different relationship between the two. And so when we're approaching in public, it's a whole lot easier to digest what the intent is behind our people who are interacting with us, versus if you're a celebrity and you've never interacted with a human being, you don't know what's coming. So you're just, very standoffish. So that's one of the beauties of this whole situation. And hopefully we can keep doing that. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, random kid here has a statement for you. Dadbod should do some voice acting for the next Call of Duty game.
I've done that when I was playing. When I have switched voices many. I've gone into Joey. Joey's one of my favorite guys. Listen, this guy, he's a ball buster like you wouldn't believe. Okay, and he's not meant for the public so much. Okay, because he says a lot of bad words, but he's the kind of guy. Did you get him in Call of Duty? He does some things. Okay, we can't talk about the things, but he just does it. That's all we know. That's all we can talk about. That's Joey. That's Joey to Dadbod.
And Random says you should have Dadbod do a reading for the intro of Wise and Nerdy. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we don't irritate him too much to the show. Maybe we can give him some green M&Ms.
It's on my rider.
All right, Joe, roll the dice, and here comes the interim question. Where is the funnest and weirdest place you've been recognized, John?
The hospital bed after I got a colonoscopy. It was actually in my stand-up. The first time I did stand-up this is a true story. The nurse recognized me coming out of anesthesia after I just got a colonoscopy. I was so drugged up, and she was like, oh my god, is that you? And I'm like, laid out. And Julie, Mrs. Dadbod, you can see her over on the side. She's like, oh my god, really, right now? Because there's a time and place for everything. But I guess this was the time and place for her. And she's like, can I take a picture? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So she took a picture. I said, just tag me. And I made a cool story about go get your colonoscopy out of it. So that's the weirdest place I got recognized.
That's hilarious.
Colonoscopies aren't bad. It's the prep that's the worst.
I love it. It's a weight loss program for me. I mean, it's, I'm getting older, and it's harder to trim some pounds down. So every 5 years I get to go and drop about 10.
Yeah, Charles wasn't on last week, but I talked about some weight loss last week.
I wouldn't want to hear it, skinny boy. I'm over it now. Come on.
I started losing weight Labor Day, so September, and I've dropped 100 pounds. So.
Oh, congrats, dude. That's huge. That's good.
It really is.
That's some jelly roll level weight loss there.
Yep. All right, Charles, are you ready?
I know. I saw it.
What it is?
Dad jokes are like Mojo Jojo. They're bad.
I got my list right here.
So in prep for this, I tried to get John on my side as I messaged our connection. Okay, I'll just say that. I messaged our connection and said, hey, here's the segment. I put, bad dad jokes. I'm like, Charles, really don't like these, but Joe really does. So John can bring some if he wants, or he can make fun of them with me. Yeah, well, nobody ever sides with me. Nobody ever sides.
Come on,
me.
you got your soundboard ready for these, because these are good. All right, here you go. You ready? How do you follow Will Smith in the snow? You look for the Fresh Prince.
Oh.
All right. Let's see. I used to hate facial hair, but then it grew on me.
Do your kids like any of these jokes?
Do my kids like them? Listen, we'll talk about my kids and how they feel about this whole situation right here. But they just basically smile and wave at anything that I do now.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. What's the best way to watch a fly fishing tournament? A live stream.
Wow.
Oh, why do cows wear bells? Because their
Why?
horns don't work.
All right. We're not getting enough TikTok cloud out of this, John, for you to go 5. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I think you've hit your celebrity max on how. Oh my god, their horns don't work. That is so
Hey,
bad.
Listen, I can go all day. I can
No.
go all day.
My dad
All
bod isn't out of shape. It's just a father figure.
Joe, we've already stacked 4. What are you doing?
Wait, we've got more. We've got some
No.
from Devo site.
Come on, Joe.
Why don't graveyards ever get overcrowded?
Why?
Because people are dying to get in.
Oh.
We can do this.
All right, are you ready for Devo sites?
Well, okay, last one. You're killing me, Smalls.
All right, but I can't promise there's only one.
Charles, you seem much more receptive to the bad dad jokes with that
No!
extra soundtrack last time. I think I now have figured it out. You need some excitement, and that will make the bad dad jokes much more palatable. So let's give this a run. Why did the students eat their homework? The teacher said it was a piece of cake. Why did the photon refuse to eat breakfast before its big hike? It was traveling lightly.
Oh, come on. Come on.
How do you prevent water from getting into the house? Stop paying the water bill.
Mm. The production value, I'll give you a 10. I'll give you a 10 for production value.
Worst dad joke ever.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody's rolling over in the grave. I'm not saying who, but somebody. Can we roll some dice? John looks like he's geared up for more. Let's come on, Joe.
I'm ready.
Help me
Look, I got a whole list right here.
Oh. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can roll some dice. There we go.
So I'll tell you, John, the worst ones, best/worst ones, are when our fans will call in with a story, and it sounds like a story, and you're listening, and then they sneak in a punchline, and it's like a 2-minute, 3-minute long story. I'm like, I hate you so much. You got me.
Have you ever seen Logan Lizzle, the dock talk?
Mm-mm.
It's just two dads on a dock.
Oh yeah,
Telling
yeah.
dad
Oh,
jokes.
okay, yeah.
They're
Okay.
freaking. He actually has a book. Where did I put my book? Oh, there it is. There it is. Look, he has a book of dad jokes. The good, the bad, and the punny. Available on TikTok. He doesn't sponsor me.
Yeah.
My wife popping in, just loving Charles's face.
All right, what'd you roll, Joe?
Donate to your daddy. Patreon.com.
That's not the one.
That's not the right button.
Donate to your
Nope.
daddy.
We're
Donate
shifting
to
into the daddy body
What?
show.
I don't know. That's not supposed to, it's supposed to be the commercial break button, and that's what I've been pushing, but apparently
Advise me, daddy.
yeah.
It's very
Donate
daddy
to
right
your
now.
daddy.
They're all maybe my stuff got all wonky. Let's see.
You let your kids play Xbox on there.
Yeah, just like you, except they mess up everything. It's supposed to be randomized. Maybe those are in there, but
All right, Joe,
yeah,
we got
so
it. It's
the
time for commercial break. So we're gonna start with a little bit of music, and we're gonna set you up, John, and you tell people what you want them to know, how to give you tons and tons and tons of money.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one in a while. Cool. All right. This is John Dadbod Veteran Wellington. Welling. I don't know. The Dadbod Veteran.
The Dadbod Veteran.
Where can they give you some awesome sauce?
Go to genxtakeover.com. The Gen X Takeover Comedy Tour, myself, the real Slim Sherry, Nick Harrison, Kelly Mono on tour, going across the entire country this year and next year and probably the world thereafter. All the show dates. We're going to be in New Jersey. We're going to be in Cincinnati. We're going to be in Boston and then back in New Jersey in August alone. Seattle, Charleston, Cancun. We got a cruise. We've got all the things through the rest of the year. Even Hot Springs, Arkansas. Don't know why, but that's random. But we'll be in Hot Springs, Arkansas this year. So if you're in Hot Springs, go to genxtakeover.com and get tickets. If not, wait till next year because we're probably going to be in your city then.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome. So everybody
Yeah.
just chill out for a minute and let's listen to some cool music and just free your minds. Joe, I know you hit the button earlier, but what can they do to support this show?
They can head on over to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy and donate there.
And what about how they get their voice on the show?
Yeah, so just like Devo's site, you can head on over to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad to leave us a speak pipe. You can leave whatever you want, but we also have the questions of the week listed there. So if you want to look at those upcoming questions of the week and answer those, please do. That would be awesome. So,
And what is the question of the week coming up in 3 months from next Tuesday?
the question of the week for July 10th is, what is your favorite movie quote?
Oh, I got it. Is that a show I'm supposed to be on, Joe?
Nope.
Okay, cool. There's things going on, John, where I work with Dragon Con, so it's getting to where I have to take every other show off till we get to the con. Okay, so since I'm not going to be on the show, I'm going to give you mine. It's the correct way to say it. I'm your huckleberry. Love that one.
Huckleberry.
Yeah, so good. Well, everybody always says, I'm your huckleberry. It's like, no, that's not what he said. But yeah, I love that one. All right, Joe.
We have a smattering of speak pipes from Devo's site to listen to as well. So let's see if I can play them in the right order. Here we go.
All right, so real speak pipe. Haven't done one of these for a while, but I'm sitting here staring. I'm just looking around. I live out in the country, and everyone comes out and says, "Oh, I love it out here. It's so beautiful. I wish I lived in the country." But when you live in the country, comes a lot of other responsibilities that you don't have if you live inside of a city, such as, ticks, chiggers, and the wildlife, such as squirrels. You have squirrels in the city, rabbits, you'll have those to an extent, maybe possums, maybe some raccoons, but deer, kind of a whole different beast. But when they dig under your foundation, in my case, my shop, my house, my dog keeps them at bay. That's a problem. And so otherwise, I don't really care. I thought I had a rabbit. I went after him, put a trap out, just took care of him. It's a skunk. Oh, God. I take care of it. My eyes are watery right now. I love living in the country, but you have to take care of a few things. Oh, by the way, I have 1 gig fiber, Charles. Makes it even better. But in general, be careful what you wish for, man. Let me tell you. I wouldn't trade it at the same time. These are the moments, this is the tax.
All right. This one says follow up to that.
Following up on the skunk story, just to clarify, I have no animosity towards skunks. As a matter of fact, I quite like them. They're good mousers. They're good animals in general. They don't really bother you if you don't bother them, except my dog, which bothered him. And I had to deal with that, unfortunately. But they're really pretty good. In this situation, he was just digging under my foundation, and it just had to happen because foundation repair is expensive. To tag on to Brother Joe there and his wonderful bobcat story, growing up, and this will just give you some insight of how hick of a family lineage I have. My grandma had not one, but 2 skunks. One when I was very young. I remember petting the thing, holding it. and then another one when she was several years later, and that thing was mean. Only let her touch it. Honestly, to Charles's point, cats are evil, but they're a lot more easy to deal with than a skunk. Trust me.
That's why we
By the
call
way,
them
the skunks
polecats.
were descended, though I don't think there's many vets will do that these days. So anyway, there you go, man. No problem, man. Just remember, I like skunks.
He likes
Okay.
skunks.
Except in our house.
No foul there. He loves skunks.
Hey,
Charles was getting ready to pull off his.
I felt the dad joke
Headphones.
coming in the story. He didn't, but he watched way too much Pepe Le Pew, apparently. Are there more?
We've got 3 more from Diva site.
Holy cow. You don't want to say some of them for like next week, Joe?
We can if you want. Those 2 were connected, so we can save the other 3 for next week if you'd prefer.
Okay, let's just. I feel the dad joke being worked in somewhere. I'm good. I've been beat up enough tonight. Are you? Go ahead and roll some dice, Joe.
All right.
John, are you an animal person? You like cats, dogs, skunks?
Oh God, I got dogs. I don't know if you can hear the snoring, but I have a dog on the couch behind me in my office snoring.
Man, I cannot roll one of our 3 numbers.
I am not much
There
of
we
an
go.
animal person, but I really don't like cats.
Oh, I don't do cats. I don't do cats. It's all dogs. Dogs are the best.
All right,
I
Joe.
have 4 dogs right
I'm
now, unfortunately.
Much more of a dog person than a cat person, which is funny because, like Devo Site said, I had a bobcat when I was young. That was fun, though. Yeah. So, all right.
Cat.
Oh,
Council of Dad.
I know your kid's little, but come on, Joe. We paid him a lot of money to get it right, and he's still not getting it right. It's the Parliament of Papas. So here we go. This plays right into your lane. In the Parliament of Papas, we try to solve the problems of the world that really can't be solved. So the problem is Gen X really the best generation? And do these kids these days really not want to work?
Yes and no. That's the answer.
Hit the gavel. We're done.
Yeah, that's the answer. That's the short version. The long version is yes, the Gen X is absolutely the most awesome generation that there ever was that existed on this planet Earth. God bless all of us. We were actually a much larger
Joe,
generation.
that's my generation. You're a little millennial. You don't count.
I know.
All right. Yeah, cool.
There was actually a lot more of us.
Can I be
but
adopted
because
as a
of-
Gen X?
No.
See, this is the situation. We were the forgotten generation. Now we're the
Yeah.
generation that nobody can forget.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to be part of us because all of a sudden somehow we were cool, but you can't actually be Gen X without experiencing the life of a Gen X. And it's not just about that latchkey situation. It's about everything else. It's about the fact that warning labels really exist because of us. There were actually a lot more Gen Xers. There are a lot fewer now, and every one of those warning labels is attached to a Gen Xer that didn't make it because of their own bad decisions. The FAFO, if you will. So are we the best generation? Of course we are. There's no question about that at all. But do kids these days really not want to work? Yes and no as well. I think that every generation, 2 generations before that generation, looks down at the current generation in spite because they don't do things the way that the earlier generation does it. And we're doing that right now. We're in some sort of position of power. I don't know how that happened. We actually don't even care.
We are Toys R Us kids.
Yeah, we don't actually care whether we're in power or not. That's one of the beauties of being a Gen Xers. We don't really care. But we see the work ethic and the way that the younger generation is doing things to be detrimental to themselves because we think that they should all be like us. And the fact of the matter is they can't be like us because they're not in the same situation as we were in. Thankfully. They don't have parents who are, the first dual income families of existence, right? Because before us were the boomers and their parents were a single income family, and the mom always stayed home and she, took care of the kids, and that whole keeping up with the Joneses situation that doesn't exist anymore. And we were the first ones to have both of our parents at work, so that's why we were latchkey kids. And now we have the helicopter parents that are existing today that are all up in their kids' business, and so they're never going to be like us. And this is going to happen with every generation going forward. There's always going to be a change in the way that they're reared, the way that they're raised, the situation that they grow up in, technology that they're involved in, that are going to cause that generation to be treated differently as they're being reared. And there's always going to be that older generation that looks down on them in spite for doing it differently because we think we were the best. So do these kids really not want to work? I think that's a good thing, their work ethic. I think that the way that they value other things in life rather than work is good. We can learn a lot from them. In fact, we already have. I think the pandemic changed the way that Gen X thinks about work. And the reason that it changed is because the millennials and the Gen Zs just threw their hands up and said, no, we're not going to do that. Right. And it gave us that opportunity to reflect being sitting at home in the pandemic and everything changing. And now there's a lot of Gen Xers who have said, no, I'm not going to work myself to death like I used to do because I see that these younger kids are doing it and they're getting away with it. And the work environment has to accommodate them so they can accommodate me as well because of the way that they're changing that dynamic. Places of employment are having to change to adapt to Gen Z. There's no reason that what they're doing isn't a good thing. By creating a more work-life balance. I mean, we Gen Xers, and I can go out about this forever, we Gen Xers, we lived to work, right? Yeah. That was our goal, our career was our goal. That was the thing that we wanted to achieve because we wanted to produce for our family, we wanted to sustain them, etc. Wanted to buy nice things. These new generations, they work to live.
And the priority is different there.
Right. Our priority was to work. Their priority is to make a livable wage to sustain themselves and have a good life. Yeah. Ours was different. So there's a lot of things that we can learn. And I know I spend a lot of my time criticizing them, but there's a lot of things that we can learn from the way that they're doing things that are beneficial to us still, even as in the age that we are as Gen Xers. So the answer is yes or no on both questions. It just depends on how you're looking at it.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of people that I work with that are older and approaching retirement age, and they're older. I'm working programming; it's my day job, and they support some of our older legacy systems because that's what they learned, that's what they know, and some of their managers are wanting them to learn some newer programming languages, and a lot of them, their attitude is, I'm about to retire. Why would I learn something new? Yeah. They're like, there's no point. At this point, I could technically retire now, or I could retire in a few years. And so, yeah, they've got they're getting that mentality that they don't need this job other than to support their lifestyle. And I fully support them in that mentality, to be honest.
I saw a great thing. I'm a lot on TikTok. I like to consume my media there. And it was an interview. I wish I could remember the guy's name. He's a great motivational speaker, as he's a new age motivational speaker. And he's coming up today, and he's got a lot of great different insights. And one of them was, we get mad because the old school did work for us. One, right. The joke is, what Jeff Foxworthy said, let him stick the fork in the outlet. He'll only do it once. He'll learn. But the reality was, we were just figuring things out. And sometimes it caught on fire. And we learned the hard way, and we just did it. And then we kind of expect that to be natural in our kids. And I go, I don't, part of it was I just wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to do it on my own. I was tired of being told what to do, and it didn't make sense. People love to say, make it make sense, man. It's like our generation invented that. We didn't use the phrase. It was like, why? It doesn't make sense. Why would we do it that way? You're whatever. And the motivational speaker brought up, well, in the older days of us coming up, right? It was, hey, let me show you what I can do. I go to 100%, and I give you some extra, and then I get a raise, and then I get a promotion. But that went away a long time ago. Because in this generation is going, look at what corporations do today. They ask you to do a whole lot more than they're paying you to do, and then they may just cash out and go away. They may go bankrupt and go away.
And they're not loyal to you anymore.
Yeah, got the corporations aren't loyal to their employees, and they wonder why the employees aren't loyal to them anymore.
The values, right? It's the values that have shifted, right? You can't a business cannot be loyal to a person because it's a thing, but people in the business can say, what are our value sets? And yes, and there was an influx to a certain point that we can just hire new people today. You're getting close to retirement. We're going to let you go, so we don't have to pay retirement, and we'll hire 2 more young kids to come in because they got more energy. Blah blah blah. But the attitude today is, no, I'm doing the job that you want me to do. Give me the raise
Right.
and I'll show you what I can do. And that makes sense.
But the other paradigm that has changed is there's not as much of an available workforce anymore either, right? We are
Right.
now in a situation where the repopulation rate is slowing significantly and fast, right? We're not having as many kids as we used to have when we were kids. And so that's going to be less people in the workforce. And when there's less people in the workforce, there's more jobs and less people to fill them. So the advantage shifts to the labor force. And as long as that paradigm continues to exist, either through the technology doesn't improve fast enough, et cetera, to keep up with that labor attrition rate, the advantage is always going to be in the labor's position. And so they can make those mandates. They can say, hey, you want me to do this, then you pay me X, and I'm going to do it at
Yeah.
the speed of Y. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas we didn't have that situation. If we got a job, we were lucky, right? If we got a job,
We were
flipping
told we
burgers,
were lucky.
yeah, we were
Well,
told we were
yeah.
lucky when
Yeah.
and when we got that first big job, we were like, oh my God, I got a first big job. I can't lose this, Whereas these kids are like, yeah, I can go get another job in 5 minutes.
Well,
Because-
and what exacerbates that issue is how many people have found alternate revenue sources through content creation.
Yeah.
Regardless of the platform, there are way more content creators nowadays than ever before.
Yeah.
And it's only going to continue increasing.
Yeah, because this is the new consumption of entertainment and media.
Yeah.
We've seen it in our world. We're not huge creators by our standards. We're medium-sized creators, if you asked us. But what we see is in Hollywood in particular, Hollywood is imploding. I don't know if anybody's watched this before, but Warner Brothers hasn't made $1 in 7 years. Their CEO just got a pay cut. They're splitting the company in half because they haven't made $1 off of movies in 7 years. And because of that, what they are starting to do now is they're starting to go after content creators, whether they're good actors or not, to try to get them into movies, because we have a baked in audience that no matter where we are, if our name shows up on there, if somebody says the Dadbod Veteran, they're more than likely going to go watch it if they're a follower.
Yeah,
just because
like
it's got my name on there.
The
I don't have to
Minecraft movie pulled in a bunch of famous Minecraft
Yeah.
YouTubers just
That
to
was
do
on
cameos.
purpose. That was
Yeah,
on purpose.
exactly. And
And so,
they got
and that's going to be the trend, is that this is going to come out in the wash one of two ways, in my opinion. Either Hollywood transitions to something that's more akin to the short form platforms or the YouTube kind of stuff, and that's where they live, or Hollywood just kind of disappears as we know it. But content creation is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's changed media completely. It's changed marketing completely, and it's the future of the way that things are going to work. And it's those organizations that adapt to it the fastest are the ones that are going to benefit the longest from it. And like you said, back to your point, there's employment levels in that, right? From everything from being a content creator yourself, or being an editor for a content creator, or being a marketing person for a content creator, or supporting brands to engage with content creators to get their UGCs done by a content creator. All those things, all of the organization of content creation has created the whole new ecosystem of employment opportunities for people that are outside of the norm of working a corporate job.
Yeah, and I think the generations that are complaining it's really people. It's not even generations, because I don't complain about the kids. I ran a company for 5 years, and every time someone's like, oh, the work ethic, they don't want to work. I feel like it's my job to teach them what I want them to do in my company. And say, give them the opportunity to step up and give them the reasons. And it's not just because I said so and it didn't make sense. And that's the thing is, I like what you said. They work to live. And why do we need XYZ? Why do we need 3 Starbucks in a small town? Why do we need all this? There are people who will love to cook. There are going to be people who want to do fast food. There's going to be people who always want to farm. There's always going to be people who love what they do. We don't have to have 15 different versions of a hamburger place just because we can. And that's where it's like everything's dying. It's like because we're oversaturated. Because my son, my 20-year-old, he had a room in the house, air conditioned, everything's nice. Yeah, no, I hear
there's
you.
a cameo.
There's my cameo for my dog. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's good. It's all good. It really is. It's that's the kind of show we are. It's all, life is life, and that's what we do here. but we built in a little 8 foot by 8 foot wooden shed for him to have his own space, right? We moved his TV out there. We gave him, some power. Not much. It's just a little bit, just drop cord, right? He ended up moving his bed and everything. He lives in that 8 by 8 shed because it's simple and it's his. And I admire that in him. I'm like, that's cool because you're not going to leave the house like I left my parents' house and I moved to my first apartment and went, holy crap, I can't afford internet. I can't afford TV. I can't afford all this stuff. Mama, where are you at? They do. I think the humans will be, if they see a world they want to get into, they'll get into it.
Yeah.
And then that's on us to, hey, we want this to happen. We got to make it happen. Give them an opportunity to show up and show out. But as far as the greatest generation, I kind of think we are, because look at the music that we produce in our generation, right?
Yeah,
look at
it's coming back.
And my kids, of course, were all raised on it. But their friends were like, "Oh yeah, I've heard that and this and that." You hear something come up on the radio, and it could be new to them, and like, this is amazing, and it's really cool that way. And the TV shows, that keeps cycling them back. Friends was a Gen X show, and yet it keeps coming back through. Really, it was in Living Single, whatever. But
Living Color, all that stuff,
all that stuff. But so it is. Of course, I don't think my generation is great, but I'm watching my kids, and they don't have that desire to go out and do things on their own, and that for 1 minute I was like, why not? I've raised them to go do things. As because I've built a nice house for them to live. Well, environment, a nice environment for them to live in. I support them,
and they realize how good it is.
Yeah, and I get to work from home, so both parents are in the house versus both parents being out of the house. Not all the time. My wife works some, blah blah. But we've almost been this generation of going, I don't have to do a 9 to 5. Let's figure out how we're going to be happy making our own money doing that. And it is very interesting. Joe, I know you're millennial. Do you have any arguments against why we're the best?
I think every generation has lazy people and hardworking people, and it's not exclusive to any one generation. And like Dadbod said, people just work differently, and you just got to ask why. It makes me think of a story I've heard a bunch of different times where this woman was preparing her grandmother's meal, and they always chopped off the ends of it before sticking in the casserole dish, and they finally asked why. They're like, oh, because our pan didn't fit it, so we had to cut off the ends to stick it in the pan. They didn't really ever have to cut it off if they had a pan big enough. And so it's asking why and trying to figure out better ways to do things is not inherently bad at all.
No, I mean, there would be no improvement in anything if we didn't ask that why. We wouldn't be sitting here doing this over the internet if somebody didn't ask why.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
Progress happens with a why first, and then somebody figures out how to fix it.
100%. I think Gen X really got loud about asking why, but we lost our way a little bit, I'll admit, because with the millennials, we're like, suck it up, buttercup, just do it. And then millennials had to go, well, that's not right. So they brought the mental health thing up that we gave to them, like, because we're beating them down. Yeah. It's I don't understand generations. It's arbitrary. It
is. And it only became popular like in the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. I mean, I wouldn't have known I was Gen X unless somebody told me I was Gen X recently. It wasn't a thing. Those dates mattered none.
Yeah.
To us.
In pop culture during the 90s, somebody coined, or they picked up on the coin Gen X, and it became a thing. But it didn't matter. We just thought it was cool, right?
Yeah.
There's an X in it. Everything with X's is cool.
And now I think social media has turned it into the generational wars, which is hilarious in my opinion, and the whole reason I'm here. So I applaud it and thank you for whoever did that.
I believe
it's arbitrary.
Yeah, I believe you did a video because I saw some of those wars going on, right? And someone's like, I dare Gen X to come out, and there's always these, don't wake Gen X, don't call Gen X. But I think, didn't you do it, Dadbod?
Yeah, I did one. Why isn't somebody calling out Gen X? And I basically said, well, that's because both generations need us. and that's the boomers are going to need us because they're about to transition to Valhalla. That's what I said. And so they're going to need us to take care of them until that time. And oh, by the way, for everybody below us, you're still living in our roof and we're still paying for everybody. So none of you want to bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. That is where Gen X is right now, is we are the breadwinners. We're the moneymakers. We're in the prime of our lives. Our kids are getting older and should be going off into the world and doing whatever they're supposed to do, but they're not. They're still attached to us, and they're still needing our support for all the things. And the boomers are getting old, and so we're taking care of them at the same time. So nobody's going to pick a fight with the guy who pays the bills.
Yeah.
Or if they do,
At least if they're smart. Yeah.
yeah. If they don't, they're smart. Yeah.
And we definitely have a don't give a damn. It's not really.
Yeah, we don't care.
We don't
That's
care.
the other thing. We were raised different, and we're a little bit rough around the edges, and we may be the ones that hurt you bad.
Yeah, we have the words to do it too. That's
yeah.
The thing. All right. So speaking of stories, we got a last segment here, but this is a story we've all performed in public. But I do believe out of the three of us, one of us is probably gonna have a better story than everybody else. But Daddy Body, tell me a story of what's one of the most memorable things you've experienced while performing live.
I have three. One of them. Well, two of them are the same event, and then one was just most recently. So I do stand-up comedy, as I've said before. I've only done it 6 times, but in New Orleans, I had the pleasure of having 2 of my 5 children in the audience. And of course, when I have somebody in the audience, I build a bit around them. And my one particular bit was for Nick, who is our oldest male in our brood of children, who has never dated before in his life. So I did an entire bit. He's the FAFO kid. He's the one that I pick on all the time. He actually lives at home. He just got out of the Navy, and he's coming back to college. And so I made a bit about how he's never dated, and I made some jokes about it. And come to find out, there was a girl who saw the video of me talking about him never dating before, who was actually in the crowd to meet him. She literally came to the show just to meet Nick.
Okay.
And
that could be good. That could be bad.
It was awesome because he was so like ghost white cringe. Like you saw the cringe when this girl
was
stood up and she was like
25. Was he?
Yeah, he's 25.
Yeah.
And she was there, waving, "I'm here to meet Nick." And it was hilarious. It was awesome. That's one of the best days of my life. In that same breath, my youngest male kid was also in the audience. And I did a little bit of Matt Rife kind of crowd work, and I got to pick on him from the front row, because I picked on him and I said, "Hey, how you feeling today, young man?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I feel good." And I was like, "Did anything hurt when you woke up?" And he was like, No, everything felt great." I said, "Good. Remember that. Because when you get to this age, you're not going to be saying that when you wake up." The crowd, of course, they were like,
"Yeah, right."
It was great.
Yeah, don't sleep funny.
Yeah, don't
It'll
sleep
mess you up
funny
for a week.
Don't sleep funny.
least.
You may lose your arm. For a good period of your morning. The other one was most recently. My ex-wife was at one of my shows. And this is a great story. We're good friends. Okay. So there's no bad blood there. We're actually good friends, but she's in her 40s. And she has had a younger boyfriend. And most of my bit is about FAFO, effing around and finding out. And so instead of picking on my kids in this bit in St. Louis, I picked on her in the crowd about the fact that she's in her 40s and she just had another set of kids. And I said, she literally FAFO. So that's what I do. If you're going to my comedy show and I know you, I'm probably going to pick on you.
I was looking at your tour dates. Either you've already played Atlanta or you're not coming to Atlanta. So
we already played. Atlanta was one of our smaller shows, but we will be coming back to Atlanta because that is Sherry's hometown, and we did the Atlanta Comedy Theater. It was only 350 seats, and now we're doing 2,500 seat venue. So we'll be coming back for a big show here.
Yeah, there's some good places that you could do that at.
Joe, we should get them to come down for Comedy for a Cause at Dragon Con that they do every year.
If I could get Damon to listen to me, the guy who runs that particular show, he's a comedian in Atlanta, and he just has a very strong mindset of what he wants. I'm like, I know funny people that will really put asses in seats. Let me bring them in for you. And
we can do that. They're gonna be older butts, but they'll be in the seats.
Look, Dragon Con's for everybody. You
Yep.
know, it definitely ranges. You'll find your people at Dragon Con.
But speaking of Dragon Con, because that was one of my first live shows that I did. The first one that stands out to me as being memorable was when we were doing Pokemon Go podcast, and we had those shirts.
No, come on.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
always tell this story. All right, you got it's not just a shirt. The shirt is balled up into a tight
is
rubber banded
very tight
cannon of a shirt. Yes.
So we brought several of them to give out to audience members, and there's this little kid in the audience, and he's being a little kid, and he is being
His parent was
pretty
not
annoying.
helicoptering enough. He was a little
but
butt face.
but I can't remember what the precipice was to this, but you decided to give him a shirt, and you wind up, and you didn't throw it especially hard.
It was the semi behind him.
Oh, okay. So you just missed.
Yes.
So and it nails this kid in the chest,
And he's looking down playing Pokemon Go. Just,
and you hear this solid thud, just bam, right in the chest. And the crowd was like, you okay, kid? But
and so we gave him a shirt too afterwards. But
Yeah, I hope so.
yeah, that halfway during that show, I was like, "Where are your parents, kid?"
But I mean, as annoying as he was still pretty cute at different times. Like afterwards, he came up and he was trying to show us his Pokemon card collection and things like that. And so, he was just being a typical kid, having fun and whatnot. It was just, yeah.
I was
that was one of the early experiences that I think of,
and of course,
doing a live show,
having a trusting and weathered performance partner to my left. The first thing he did was throw me under the bus and said I did it on purpose, and he kept hammering that in. Like,
Of course.
no, you can't say that because this kid is like 8 and I'm not 8. So stop saying I hit him in the face on purpose.
He's a teenager now. He's probably a lot more annoying.
Yeah, probably. I got a few different ones, but talking about your kids in the audience. Did you let the audience know that was your kid, or is it just some kid? In the audience?
When I was done, I let him know.
Okay, when you're done,
Not when I was doing it. No, heck no. That would ruin the joke.
A little, my humor is very aggressive, not a little aggressive, very aggressive when I do crowd work. And I was developing a game show that I do now, but at the time I had a partner, and we'd split the audience. Well, my kids, I had 2 of them at the time with me then, and I think Rylan was like 8 or something. And he decided, of course, I'm going to be on this guy's team instead of your team, Dad. But nobody knew he was my kid. And so that's what I do. I'm always the bad guy, right? If I have a partner, there's always a good guy. Joe's the good guy. I'm always the bad guy.
You hit little kids with shirts.
Yeah, sure. but we like put the guests in the middle just so you know, devil, angel, shoulders. That's how we, if you didn't pick up on it. But I'm like just riding. And I don't remember what I said about him, but I said something in the crowd. I lost the crowd. Like they're like, oh, I mean, like not a ooh, oh, it's like a bad. I was like, oh yeah, where's your parents? And he goes, I give my kid credit. I go, because I was like, I'll burn this to the ground. I don't care. Where are your parents? I can't believe somebody would just let you loose to this kind of show. He goes, I don't know. My dad went out for milk and he never came back. And the crowd, and he goes, well, I came here to meet you, Dad. How are you doing? I was like, oh my God. You cannot tell better jokes than me.
Yes.
Not my own show.
Yes.
Yeah, he got me. It was good.
You got upstaged.
I did. So, man, life performing can be a blast. It can definitely be tough, but it's a lot of fun. And John, would you still build on that? I know you talked about doing the tour you're doing now, but would you live that life of just town to town to town?
Yeah, totally. I mean, my kids are all grown and gone, and so given the opportunity and the time to do it, yeah, 100%.
Nice.
My companions, they all have young kids, so they're a little still attached. So we're going to do the old person tour for a while, but if we get to the point where they're all gone or they've got a comfortable situation at home, I think that they would do it as well too, because like I said, we're in our 40s. Sherry being the oldest is in her 50s. We're not going to be around forever. So let's ride this rocket until it hits whatever planet it's going to. That's kind of our mentality. We actually have a bet right now that if we ever play Madison Square Gardens, we are all going to get the Gen X Takeover logo tattooed on our butt. And we're going to do content with it. We're going to get our tattoos all at the same time and do content with it. So that's our vision of this Gen X Takeover, where we think it can go. And as of this moment, I don't see why that wouldn't happen. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, if the audience keeps showing up like they have been, and we keep growing the way we are, I'm scared. I'm scared of what this thing could be.
Hold on tight. It's like water skiing.
It's exactly what that's what all of our talent people and our agents and all these people that are surrounding us, they're like, this doesn't happen. This doesn't grow as fast as it's growing. You shouldn't be where you're at, but you guys need to just hold on, because this thing is going somewhere. And get ready. And that's kind of what we've been doing.
And where can we get tickets again?
GenXTakeover.com, just as it sounds. GenXTakeover, one word.com.
And for everything else, it's Dadbod Veteran across.
Dadbod Veteran. And if you want to get to my merch store, it's linked in any of my socials. You can get these hats, you can get these shirts, you can get the rest of my merch there. Support the cause, and I greatly appreciate it.
I just noticed your hats. That's say Only Dads.
Yeah, Only Dads. This is my prototype. I've got that. Only
Joe,
Dads
how did we not think of that for our show?
Only Dads. Oh yeah, with the sexy.
Yeah, you
dad
got that
there.
fat guy leaning back.
Dad, yeah.
No, not a fat guy. It's a dad bod.
It's a dad bod. It's not a dad bod. Yeah, it's
the mud flap.
It's a father figure.
That's right.
Oh my God, Joe. Stop it.
And it's not a bald spot. It's a solar panel for a sex machine.
I used to teach my kids when they were little out in public. It drove my wife crazy. Made her laugh, but drove her crazy. Just in some appropriate, some not so appropriate times, like, who am I? And like, Dad, don't make us do that. Like, who am I? You're the sexy beast. I'm like, that's right. That's right. That's who I am. So dumb. Thank you, John, for being on. It's been a blast, man.
This is fun, man. I really appreciate you guys.
Anything we can ever do for you, hang out after. We'll get some stuff for the patrons. We'll talk to them about, but anything we can ever do, we'd love to have you back on. Anytime, everything is good. Joe, do you have anything you want to pass on from your wife to him?
She's just super excited to fangirl. So she's been here all night. She's commented a couple of times. Yeah, she was just when I immediately when your person came out, reached out to us about being on. I immediately went up to her. I was like, "You'll never guess who's going to be on the show," and she was like, "No." Yeah, she's super excited.
Well, Mrs. Ard, thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of you.
All right. Until next time, everybody. Don't tune in next week. I won't be here. Just Joe and some cool people. Not me.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
Shut up, Mike.
I'm Batman.